All right, we're back.
Barack Foxane Obama.
So you guys want to carry on that conversation?
Well, sure. We were having a great little.
You're enjoying it?
Little tit for tat, if you will. So,
right.
Brooke, why don't you ask your question? Why don't you posit your query?
Okay, we were talking about the public option.
You were saying, where are you getting your numbers that people don't want it? And John was saying, there's a lot of polls out there that suggest the majority of the American people do not want this bill for a wide range of reasons.
The polls,
they're not all for the same reason. That's true.
All of the polls, though, are basically dead on. There's not. All the polls are basically saying the same thing.
Yes, and when you hear people say things like 78% of Americans want healthcare reform, of course they want healthcare reform, but that doesn't mean 78% of Americans want the public option or socialized medicine.
What is being put forth is unreasonable in the very aspect in which it's being done. You have a bill that's 2,700 pages long.
Right.
Even the president doesn't really know what's in it.
That's per house.
Yeah. Nancy Pelosi herself says, well, when we pass it, we'll find out what's in it. The American people hear this, they see what it's going to cost, and it's the same thing over and over again. It's one of the reasons why the Congress is so unbelievably unpopular with the American people right now.
Yes.
And they don't want it. They don't trust it. You also have to remember, over 80% of the people in this country that have health care like what they have.
That's true.
I've known lawyers who've told me a good law is a law that goes in and fixes a problem without disturbing anything else. The problem with this is it disturbs the hell out of a lot of people. It really does,
and it's going to take away market forces. It's going to move market forces toward a public option.
You see,
it absolutely will.
It is a large power grab.
Sure.
The Democrats have really blown a wonderful opportunity here because they had control. If they had taken this in an incremental fashion and just did certain things, these guys would be a shoo-in for re-election. First of all, the Democrats, with control, they could have done certain things to lower the cost of health care for the common working guys. They could have allowed you to buy health care across state lines. And they could have tossed things in there, things that everybody agreed upon. We're going to eliminate preconditions, things like that. They could be passing legislation.
Yeah, but they came out.
These guys are getting things done. But they've spent all their political capital on a complete takeover of the entire economic aspect of healthcare.
They wanted, though.
They're damn, we've got the majority, we got them,
right.
Let's do it. Well, they didn't have it. They forgot their own blue dogs.
What they underestimated was the popularity of their party coming off of the most recent presidential election.
Yeah, they really misread that.
They sorely underestimated and horribly underestimated how far the rest of the Democrat Party could get on the cult of personality that was then President-elect.
But they could have had that. They could have had that.
They absolutely could have. And
if they had gone with these common sense ideas.
And 50 years from now, people would be talking about how the New Deal was actually, the New Deal was Barack Obama's.
How many Americans really are...
Speaking to that point, they ramrod this thing through. Okay, hell or high water, they are going to get it through.
Right.
In the end, this bill's not going to flesh out anything like what this 2,700-page bill looks like right now.
Yeah.
When it's all fleshed out and however long it takes to hammer out all the details and stuff, it's going to be vastly different in my opinion. However, in 50 years, history will show that the Democrats under Barack Obama got the ball rolling. They got this thing passed. Regardless of what it ended up as, okay, they made history because they did something that had never been done.
And I hate to say it, this is one place where I'm really, really jealous of the liberal side of the aisle. They're never held accountable for the end result. They're held accountable for
You also have to admit they have the courage of their convictions.
Right, and they'll
screw the American people.
Right.
We want this. We're going to pass it.
Right.
You got it.
It doesn't matter what the surveys say or the polls say. They're going to
Democrats have no shame, and Republicans have no backbone.
They think a lot of them do think that this is what the American people want. Now, another one of my arguments.
I kind of doubt that. I actually doubt that.
I doubt it too.
I don't think they give a crap.
I think they understand that we don't want it, and they're going to do it anyway.
Well, okay, sure. Some of them do.
You're a rube. You just don't understand.
Well, okay, yeah, and you know what? I'll concede that.
They're doing it for our own good because
would you imagine that I'm the one
good.
trying to be nice here to the other side of the aisle?
Yeah, you know.
I am.
Because you think I've battered Brooke around the night.
No. Brooke is just looking at us confused at this point. My approach to this is very simple. I started studying economics recently. I've become kind of interested in that. It's an interesting
reading books
field.
and stuff?
Yeah, it's an interesting field. We have monopoly laws, antitrust laws for a reason, right?
Sure.
Why didn't we let Bill Gates take over the computer industry? because he would be the sole price taker for all of our computer needs. So, in my opinion, why would we then let government take over something that is, regardless of how important it is to your life, it is ultimately a product. It is ultimately something you seek out and buy. And so when you go to buy that, you are moving market forces. And if you have a monopoly on that from any one price taker, government, private, doesn't matter, you're done. You can't argue with that.
Where do they get the nerve to complain about the insurance companies when the single biggest entity in denying healthcare claims is the government?
It is. And
there's not a healthcare private insurance company in the country that surpasses the government in denying healthcare claims.
And there's not a
and you can sue a healthcare company. You can go to an arbitrator with a healthcare company. This bill literally states you cannot sue the government. You cannot appeal.
Well, the thing is that healthcare, socialized medicine.
Who in their right mind would give this much freaking power to the government? Are they insane?
Well, there's a lot of stuff you can't sue the government for.
Sure. I mean, well, that's the point, though. It specifically said you cannot sue the government.
Let's let Brooke in on this.
Good, Brooke.
Well, I was just going to say, to your point, is that's why the problem is that the bill is so large and nobody knows what's in it. So,
bingo.
I mean, I'm a liberal, but
it's going to be hard for you to cling to your party's values when they aren't even showing you their hand, right? And I respect that, I do. But philosophically, I am totally opposed to this on an economic and a liberty basis and a constitutional basis, and because I know where this is going, right? Mm-hmm. You look at places where socialized medicine has been successful, like Germany and Japan. They have great healthcare systems, right? And I'm not going to argue that they don't. And they have had that from socialized medicine. But who has led the world in experimentation, right? And who has led the world in medical technology development? It's been us.
Do you know who the second largest insurer in Japan is?
Who's that?
Aflac.
Aflac. Yeah, there you go. So the duck, it's like Aflac. So
really, when you do that, don't lean forward, lean backward. Aflac.
James' ears are bleeding.
I'm wide awake. I can tell you that.
His ears are bleeding.
But the reason I'm trying to say this, and this is not because I want little babies to die or because I don't want certain people to have their health insurance. Competition makes every product better. Right? If you just had one company making cars, your product would be limited by the company making cars.
The most vicious, vile, and underhanded aspect of this whole thing is creating the illusion that people are dying because of the healthcare system.
Right.
When actually, they give examples of people. This little young boy they just brought in, his mother would have died anyway. She had actually received treatment for her conditions.
Right.
You want to ask him? You ask him, okay, if we pass this, you tell me these people are no longer going to die. Well, tell me I am not going to freaking die.
And you can't ask an 11.
They'll tell you that.
You can't tell an 11-year-old.
Yeah, you won't die.
You can't tell an 11-year-old boy, well, I'm sorry, son, your mom was going to die anyways. I mean,
because then she received treatment and then refused further treatment.
Right, and then never mind. That's her.
I feel
right.
for the kid though,
and I do feel.
But that is her right. That's her liberty.
That is her liberty, and that's where it fundamentally.
That's the difference.
Competition makes every product better. When you have one single price taker, and Germany and Japan have worked because they're more centralized governments and smaller populations, but they have no competition. Nothing is raising the level of their marketplace in terms of their healthcare. We have 32 Nobel Prizes. We had 32 Nobel Prizes in medicine straight.
And there will be people who will die because they're going to be denied critical care because they're going to have to ration.
No matter whether it's private or government. And one thing people are
call it death panel if you want, but that will happen.
And no matter what you call it, right? People are going to have to realize healthcare, living is expensive. Ultimately, dying is expensive. So
that's why I've given it up.
Yeah, I'm not going to die. I'm not planning on dying.
I can't afford a funeral.
Living is very expensive.
No, you can die. You just can't be dying.
You wait till rigor mortis sets in. And then
that's right.
With your toes pointing, you pound yourself on the ground with a croquet mallet.
You can't tell people that they should pack away their big screen TV and buy health insurance with that money. No.
Well, with that, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to cut you off, son. You're not going to make it.
That's fine.
We'll be right back with our conclusion at Colbertradio.com.